Hello everyone, and welcome back to Prestige Reef. There is one Acanthurus Tang which is often considered a level above all the rest. Unfortunately, it can be both extremely desirable, but also extremely difficult to keep. This would be the Achilles Tang. Although disputable, a couple of the less desirable but equally frustrating Tangs from the same family would be the Powder Blue and Convict Tang, the latter of which I've sadly had first-hand negative experience with. As I have a Powder Blue and Convict Tang myself, I thought it was about time to share my thoughts on the Achilles Tang, as these have very similar requirements. These fish are easy to recognise due to their pitch black oval bodies adorned with an orange teardrop. This creates a striking contrast. It is a fish on the top of many people's wish list, however most people manage to resist the temptation due to their high price tag and low survival rate in captivity. This poor survival rate is usually a result of two major issues. The first being they're prone to hunger strikes, and the second being they're prone to white spot. If you're thinking about purchasing one, you really need to be willing to plan your tank around it. They can be very aggressive, active swimmers, therefore they need a considerable sized tank with very selective tank mates. Peaceful enough to not cause it stress, but robust enough to be able to deal with its mood swings. Swimming distance is more important than water volume, therefore a rectangle tank is preferred over a cube, which gives them a chance to stretch their fins. Something which is often overlooked, but I believe is vital to their long-term success, is strong, varied flow. In the wild, these fish are often found grazing in very turbulent water, and replicating this in our tanks may be the key to keep them alive long-term. As I mentioned, they have a very bad attitude when it comes to fellow tank mates, and once established, it isn't uncommon for them to kill new additions. This is the same with the majority of the members from that branch of the Tang family. And now that my Powder Blue Tang is established, she is becoming more and more problematic. As always, there are some exceptions to that rule, with Vampire Tangs generally being their most peaceful relative. When selecting a fish, a specimen which is between 3 to 5 inches is ideal. Smaller specimens often have trouble surviving the shipping process, while larger ones find it difficult adapting to a life in captivity. Be sure to only select one which is actively swimming, inspect them closely for any signs of white spot, and ensure that you see them feeding with vigour at the fish shop. Assuming you find a specimen which ticks all these boxes, I strongly advise you still quarantine this species. This gives you a chance to monitor its behaviour, while also allowing the fish to acclimatise in the peace and comfort of an empty tank. It also gives you a chance to offer a variety of food, which the fish can test at its own pace without any competition. These fish can be very picky feeders, eating one day and then ignoring the food the next. Another key to success is to get them to eat multiple foods. This will provide the fish with a more nutritious diet, further strengthening their immune system, and if one day it decides it's not interested in one food, you have a range of other options to try. Nori is a good place to start, as it is something that you can leave in the tank for it to pick at its own leisure, without the risk of it very quickly polluting the water. Plenty of live rock is a must, as they will cruise the rockwork all day picking at algae. Please be aware that when you make this purchase, a white spot outbreak is virtually unavoidable. Therefore, cleaner shrimp and cleaner wrasse make wise tank mates. They won't completely stop an outbreak, just help to slow it down. However, having said that, a recent study shows that removing cleaner wrasse from a reef can have a significant detrimental impact. So it might be wise to leave them in the ocean and go for the shrimp option instead. Once a fish has developed white spot, you need to decide when the appropriate time to act is. Stress causes the mucus layer the fish produces to become thinner, allowing the parasite to attach. Removing a fish from the display tank can be incredibly stressful, which can cause more harm than good sometimes. There are times when I've seen a fish completely covered in white spot, and to my amazement, I've seen them able to recover on their own with the use of increased feeding schedule. This was a surprise to me. Despite being in the hobby for 10 years, I always assumed that without copper, white spot was a death sentence. Even after all these years, I'm still learning new things on a regular basis. This isn't me advising you to do nothing. We just need to decide when the appropriate time to act is. I'd be the first person to remove all the rockwork to catch a sick fish. However, if you consider the amount of stress involved for both the fish and other tank inhabitants, is it the right course of action for a minor outbreak? I'll leave you with that thought. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you to everyone that provided me with the additional footage. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. As always, I just want to say a massive thank you to the people that support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of what you do with regards to keeping this channel going. You've all been brilliant. Thank you.